From Mr. Bilious and Mr. Happy. No, I think we're enough of that, really. I mean, you know who we are. It's the Bob and Ramon Show. Out you come.
Are we coming out?
Out you come. Out you come. Come on, you can take it off. It's safe. Here he is. Hello from.
Couldn't breathe there for a minute. From me, and it's from him.
And from him. Okay, welcome back to the Bob and Ramon Show. The reason we got these stupid things on is we gather you like the bit of humour that we had from the leopard skin shirts the other day, and we thought we'd put some boxes on because today is one of our rare unboxing videos.
You know what, I didn't realise, I thought it was some kind of avant-garde sort of artistic thing we were doing there.
Well, that too.
Okay, right.
That too, because I mean we are, you know, we are Dadaist surrealists at heart, aren't we?
Yes, yes.
Or something.
Surrealists.
But seriously, because I'm Mr. Serious, we are honoured today to be somewhere in the southern half of England.
Beautiful.
In a room full of some really fantastic guitars. And we're going to plough through these things at quite a rate today. We're sitting amongst quite a lot of nice gear here.
We certainly are.
We're starting out with a 60 Fiesta Red slabboard Strat.
Which is absolutely stunning.
Which is just gorgeous. I mean, the texture of this red is fantastic.
Yeah, because you can kind of see the original red, but it's sort of aged into this just amazing colour.
Actually, for the geeks out there, this is a red over red Fiesta Strat, and there's a guy I know in France who just collects red over red.
Yeah.
So red over red is very sought after, and of course the red undercoat gives the Fiesta top colour a real vibrancy and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a slab board. It's just gorgeous guitar.
And it's got a really nice neck, you know. And this is kind of like because the opening riff was early Dire Straits thing, and I think he had, you know, on his first few albums, he had, you know, basically, essentially this guitar, and it really does sort of lend itself. You got those tones. It's got that sound, doesn't it?
That's the right guitar. That's the right guitar.
If you want to play that kind of music.
So that's a 60 slab board Strat. This is a 64 L plate in Olympic white. So this has got the veneer rather than the slab board. Plays like a dream as well. This is in incredible condition, really. I mean, it's got a few tiny dings on it. I mean, to all intents and purposes, for a guitar this old, it's very clean.
I can't remember. Did Hendrix have a? I know he had a lot of ones with the maple neck and the Olympic white, but did he have a rosewood? I think he did, didn't he?
He probably did, but he mainly, because of when he was operating with the Strats with the bigger headstock, which was late 60s.
Yeah.
Which we can actually pull one of those out in a minute, but
I think early when he first came to London, I think he had an Olympic white with a rosewood neck. You know, I think. Don't know how long he kept it before he
probably did, because these guitars were, you know, mid-60s. These guitars would have been circulating in London. Not many, but you know, a few. There would have been a lot of red Strats, of course, because the Hank Marvin thing, the Selma thing.
And would that have a sunburst underneath that?
I doubt it. I don't think it would look like this, especially with Olympic white. But there were a lot of reds, as you were saying earlier, that the Selma shop, because of the Hank Marvin influence, they basically Selma bought in a whole load of Strats, often sunburst, and got a local geezer to respray them in Fiesta Red.
Yeah, and what's interesting is the necks, because they really do taper nicely down to in the first and third fret. They're kind of thinnish, not thinnish, but here they're kind of really nice and chunky, aren't they? And nice bit of wood here on these particular models.
It's really interesting. I mean, if you've watched our videos before, you've seen my 62 Shoreline Gold one, and that's got really quite a big neck. So I'm used to an unusually big neck on a Strat. This Fiesta has got, for me, a really comfortable neck. It's not a small skinny neck. It's not really fat, but it's comfortable in the hand.
Yeah.
This is unusual because this is still quite chunky for a Strat, because a lot of the Strats I play by 63, 64 really get quite skinny. It's skinny in every direction. I kind of go, because I've got quite big hands, I don't get on with them so well. But both of these guitars are incredibly comfortable.
Big feet and big hands.
Big feet, big hands. You know what they say.
Well.
Yeah.
Well.
What do they say, Bob? Compensation for making up elsewhere, Ramon, I think is the phrase that we'll use. Yeah, moving diplomatically on. So there we go. Now I'm going to move things on at a pace today because we've got so much to get through. So we've literally opened with a couple of Strats, but we're going to start doing some unboxing for you. And please keep the faith. There's lots of good shit to see. So here we go.
Okay then, Bob, so what do we have here?
Right, so we've got a 1952 Telecaster Blackguard, okay? And
the Holy Grail, isn't it?
The Holy Grail. If you've watched our videos before, you've heard me refer to this guitar. This is my favourite guitar in the world, and as you know, I've got some pretty tasty stuff myself, but this is the best guitar I've ever played. And what's remarkable about it is it's one of the very first guitars ever made. So imagine that the first bloke ever to invent a car invented, I don't know, the top Lamborghini, or imagine that the first bloke ever to invent an aeroplane invented a supersonic jet. It's that remarkable. For all these other guitars that have been made since, with all these bells and whistles and pickups and switches and knobs and stuff, this thing slays the lot. It's absolutely incredible.
It all comes back to this, doesn't it?
It's an incredible guitar, just incredible. And this is it's completely intact. So the first pickup position switch is completely useless.
Very sort of bassy, isn't it? Because this, I guess, was a bass guitar.
What they used to use it for, and people used to use it for jazz sometimes. It's basically got a great big capacitor on it that just knocks off all the treble.
But as soon as you come to the middle position, then that doesn't work.
No, that's the neck.
That's
open.
the neck.
Okay, and then here, right? This position. So that's
more versatile than you
it's
think.
Much more versatile. So that's a blend control. Okay, and I was blending from the neck to the neck and the bridge.
And that's how they were originally wired.
That's how they were originally wired. So
that's incredible.
So it's I mean it's a shame in a way, because one of the pickup positions is, by modern standards, pretty useless, but the other two are so sublime. It doesn't matter.
Well, you say useless, but I mean, you got instant jazz tone, haven't you?
And those guys in Southern California in the early 50s would have been doing that stuff on it. Yes. There you go.
Yeah, so it's not totally useless.
It's got, although this is an unboxing video, we've got so much to get through. We're probably not going to be showing many of the boxes, but this has the original poodle case, which is the kind of half-shaped case with the red lining inside that looks like a poodle's coat, which is why it's called poodle case. So it's kind of all complete.
And this is a particularly good model, isn't it? Because it's got a marking or something on the neck, is that right?
That is right. So this is for aficionados. There was a guy who was in charge of quality control, final manufacturer at the Fender factory in the early 50s, called Tadeo Gomez, Mexican guy, and amongst the collectors, the guitars signed in pencil with T G on the end of the neck and also in the neck pocket are the they're the ones to have.
Yeah. And he was Mexican, was he?
He was Mexican because remember Fender was in Southern California, so just over the border.
Sorry.
And off he goes. And off he goes. So that is one very serious guitar. I think
if you end up with one guitar after all 30 years of dicking about with this, that, and you're going to end up with one of these if you're intelligent.
Absolutely. And by the way, it does everything as well. I mean, if you put it through high gain, it sounds great.
Yeah.
If you put it through clean, as you're hearing, it sounds great. It's just it's all round. It's terrifying to think that virtually almost the first electric guitar made, almost,
and they got it
apart
right
from Bigsby's, and they got it beyond right. It's amazing. Now its friend is from '59. Okay, this is an Esquire, no neck pickup, just a bridge pickup. This is very clean. This by this time in the mid '50s, the blonde finish had gone whiter and the pickguard had gone from black to white.
But it's only one ply.
And it's a one-ply guard. So's that one-ply black guard. The three-ply guard came just 60.
60. And I think I was watching a Joe Bonamassa video where he said you could like go back to Fender. You could write to Fender or something and then give you another pickup. Or you could send it back to Fender or something.
Well, yeah, probably because the thing is, I'm almost certain, without looking underneath it, but this will almost certainly be routed for two pickups. Because Leo Fender, being a manufacturing genius, he made all the guitars the same and just either put another pickup in or not.
So I think you could send it back to Fender and they would. It was part of an advert on an advert in a Fender catalog, and they upgrade it for you with another pickup.
Very good. Very good. So this is your classic kind of from the right period, the right kind of guitar. This is really your Steve Cropper guitar. That's what this would be famous for.
And it's got that cutting.
Totally cut.
Because is there maybe less magnet pull on the strings?
Maybe a little less magnet pull. You know, if you go going for all this sort of pickup loading thing, two pickups versus one. But having said that, the argument doesn't work for me because that's just such a sublime sounding guitar that.
What does that pickup selector do, Bob?
Right. The funny thing is,
why do you need one?
I haven't done any preparation, so let's find out.
Days.
Okay. Very mellow and also quite quiet.
So
middle. Pretty sure. Right. Okay. Right. So pretty mellow. Bit like the neck position.
It's got a big cap on that.
Yeah. Middle is tone and volume, and that is just volume.
No, it's just sort of straight out.
No tone, straight out. So direct couple, if you like. And it's a sharp guitar. It's really sharp.
So just compare this pickup here to so.
Anyway,
yeah,
there you go. By the way, we should tell you, we're playing through a pair of amps here. We've got a Dr. Zed Maz 18 or 35? 18, a Maz Junior 18, and we've got an Ignator Renegade 30 combo. That's what the two amps are. I'm playing through the Ignator, you're playing through the Dr. Z. That's what the amps are for the geeks. I think, although I could happily linger on these two guitars all day, I think we should move on.
Okay then, Bob, let's do that.
Let's move on. Okay, so I mentioned another Strat before. This is a 69, 68, 69, I think. Big headstock. Shout out to Connor Fliss here, because These are your favourites. You know I don't like them, but you do. You love them, I know.
Does this have a 3-screw bolt-on neck?
No, it's it is. It's a three-screw bolt-on.
Right.
Okay. But you know, like everything else, before you vilify those things, you know, some of them are great. You know, my deceased friend Rupert Webster's 73 Sunburst Strat with a bolt-on neck, one of the best Strats I've ever played.
And they're good value at the moment, aren't they?
Good value, really good.
Very good.
But this is a pretty classic Hendrix kind of period Strat. Unusual because it's transparent blonde like a Telecaster, in fantastic condition.
Swamp ash? Is that swamp ash body? Or ash body? Or
I'm not an expert on the wood material, but it looks like ash.
Yeah, I think
it looks like
ash with because of the see-through. Anything see-through was
slightly brighter because it's a maple neck, and a slightly rounder, thinner maple neck of the time. So that kind of completes the trilogy of Strats here. You are holding a '69 Thinline Tele.
Yeah.
Which is your holy grail, isn't it?
Yeah, well, just like you love the 52, my favourite guitar in the world is a 69. I like them because they're nice and light and they're a little bit different. And hopefully one day I'll be able to afford to buy one of these myself. But I just love the you know, they're lightweight and they're resonant. And this one just has got a great great sort of vibe about it. And the neck, I love the necks, the maple, really really nice neck. And another thing that I like is and it's a bit of a this is an interesting thing because obviously because it's got a trusswood skunk stripe.
Yeah.
That means that it's a one-piece neck, which is nice obviously as well. And this one has as well. But some of them, but I do like the laminate necks as well. You know when they have a laminate, which they made some Strats with the laminate. I think in 62, 63.
Maybe or maybe a bit later. Maybe a bit later because there were a few Teles as well. There were a few when the Teles had gone to rosewood. There were still a few maple laminate board Teles. They fetched quite a lot of money as well from the mid '60s.
And I think Hendrix had one of those Strat with a laminate maple neck, and but
the trouble with Hendrix is Hendrix had so many Strats, got through so many. I mean, you just can't keep up.
Yeah, but this you can go from the country sort of to kind of more sort of the fusion sort of Larry Colton, Robin Ford thing. And then you've got the jazz, you kind of essentially got a jazz guitar, you know, as well. So I think it's one of the most versatile, really, instruments because of, you know, the jazz, arch top, the F hole. You know what I mean? You know where I'm coming from.
And the other thing you'll feel about this when you play this guitar at combat volume, loud, what you'll feel is that this will actually be pumping air out under your wrist, like a 335 will.
Right,
yeah, they get quite resonant when you get them hot. They get resonant, and that fattens up the sound. Yeah, that's a beaut.
And so like it's almost can float in the air, just beautiful. So it's a really nice period. I mean, a lot of people knock the guitars made around this period, but you know, this is just a classic. You know, Vince Gill.
Yeah,
he swears by his 69.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. He's a man who's got some guitars. I noticed that you were playing an 11th chord there, Ramon. That's very, very swanky kind of.
Is that illegal?
That's barely. Barely legal, as they say on Pornhub.
Yeah. I mean, what can I say? I mean, you know, we tried to. I mean, you were playing jazz last week, weren't you, on the show?
Yeah. Quite. Less said about that, the better.
I mean, anything can happen.
Yes.
Anything does happen.
Yes.
So anyway, let's move swiftly on.
Let's move swiftly on. Right.
A little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4.
can you? So that is a very, very clean 57 Strat. Look at the state of that.
Beautiful neck, incredible V.
Well, the back of the neck looks almost like the Tom Anderson I had from the 90s. It's brand new, it's clean. But so clean.
This is the V-neck that Clapton discovered on the Ocean Boulevard album.
It's in incredible condition. I've forgotten how great the condition is. The pick guard, pickup covers are all, you know, really in good shape. The single guard is clean, and all the rest of it. The sunburst's beautiful. There's plenty of gloss on it. You know, a lot of these guitars are really quite chewed by now, and the neck's in fantastic condition. Hardly any wear on the maple. Beautiful feeling neck too.
It's absolutely mint.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's like playing a new guitar.
Yeah, it's pretty. You know, and that's a classic. You know, I think if you're going to have a Strat, I mean, the two best Strats would be the 57 and the 62 for me. They would be. You've covered the basis there. You know.
Yeah. And it's got that kind of you can hear it on those Clapton records that he made. You know, after Cream. It's a very sort of well, he's playing through Music Man amps and stuff like that, but it's got a very piercing, cutting. And I'm sure he would have just played it flat out, you know.
Now, the reason that I don't have a 57 Strat, because having played this one and another friend of ours, I really wanted one. I played a lot. The reason I don't have one is because they're great clean.
Yeah. But
I find that when they go on, when you play them through drive, which is how I play most of the time, they can get very spitty and like broken glass. Whereas what's interesting is if you get some of the earlier 50s Strats, even if they're a bit beat,
sort of 52, 53, 54.
Well, they were invented in 54.
Oh, sorry.
So, kind of 54, 55. Some of those can go quite fat and quite rich.
Yeah. And
then the 60s ones can go a bit fatter and richer. Whereas the 57s for me they're a bit brighter.
That's really interesting.
I mean, it's not like I've played 100 of them or anything. I've only played 3 or 4, but I found all the ones I looked at were wonderful, clean, but not for drive.
Because you know who I think had one of these in '57. If I can get this right, is this guy. They went on the, just before he died, Richie Valens went with tour with the Big Topper and Peggy Sue,
Buddy Holly, who played one of these. Yeah,
and the three of them, I think, well, at least Buddy Holly and Richie Valens got one of these each, and I think it was around 56, 57. And so these were the last guitars that they owned before they died. And
that Buddy Holly endorsement of a Stratocaster was really crucial to Leo Fender, because Leo Fender, I mean, remember in the 50s, Leo Fender was still really trying to get himself established.
Yeah.
And Buddy Holly was about the biggest noise in pop at that moment.
He was, yeah.
Big deal, big deal.
And Richie Valens, who one of my heroes. So Bob, tell me about the term war guitars. What do you know about that?
Yeah, it's a bit of a sad story, really, isn't it? That America at the time was, fighting wars. It was fighting the Korean War, and then it fought the Vietnam War. And a lot of their youngsters were, they were drafted, conscripted in to fight, and too many of them didn't come back. And if their parents had, bought them as teenagers a nice guitar, they left it behind, and it just languished under the bed. And when their son didn't come back, the guitar languished for years until the parents might have kept it for sentimental value, or if they had fallen upon hard times they might sell it. But a lot of these guitars didn't really emerge until their parents passed in the 80s, 70s and 80s.
So that's why they're in such good condition.
And hence the phrase under the bed guitar.
Yeah.
So that's all that, and that's an under the bed guitar. It's in ridiculous condition.
It is, but it's got that sound.
It's got that sound.
It's got the sound.
It's got that sound.
You heard it, La Bamba.
You played it first.
La Bamba.
And in another first, you've got me playing bass.
Jazz, bass. What's next?
I can cook as well.
Can you?
Yeah.
Never knew that. Yeah. You've never invited me.
No.
Okay. Let's go next guitar.
Okay, so this is quite interesting. This is a Mustang bass, so it's short scale, so great for guitar players and students. It's got its competition stripe. It's a really unusual colour. You very often got these in yellow with a red stripe, and a kind of medium kind of sea metallic blue with a pale blue stripe. But this is Lake Placid blue with a kind of duck egg green stripes. It's really
Is that
unusual.
blue or green? Because I think I'm going colourblind. I see that as green.
So this is Lake Placid blue. But
does that look blue to you? Because this is blue. That's blue.
It's green. It's green. But what's happened is the top coat has yellowed. So that's
I'm
why.
not going colourblind.
So no, you're not.
Okay.
Not much.
Can I just say, flat wound strings really suit this bass.
They
it's
do.
got a nice plod.
They do. They really do. It sounds great. I mean, normally I like round wounds on a precision, but this short scale, it sounds fantastic. Feels fantastic for a guitar player. It's a guitar-sized guitar.
So this would have been like a student's guitar, like starting off in a band.
Yeah.
You know, in your garage.
Yeah. Now the other thing, of course, is at last, girls are actually getting into music and really, playing fantastically, and girls don't have such big hands. This for a female bass player is a great guitar, really great guitar. I mean, so these are coming back.
My girlfriend has really massive hands though. Well, so, my girlfriend's got bigger hands than me.
He's the lucky one, you see. He always gets the good ones, you see. What can you say?
I'm just
no brag, just facts.
Just pointing that out. She's got big feet as well. In fact, everything's big on her. Can we edit that bit out?
Really? I think we might just cut that. Right. Moving on, we're going to get some more guitars out. So there you are, channeling a little bit of Brian Jones.
Yeah,
Keith.
The legend that is Brian Jones.
And what's that then?
Well, this is the guitar of my hero, Brian Jones. This is, well, not the actual guitar, but the guitar that he played. I think one of his last performances when he was with the Stones. I can't remember the name of it. It was a Rock and Roll Circus, which was never released. But he played a. Do you remember the last time, literally, but the last video we did?
Yeah.
We played No Expectations.
So we did.
And that was, he played, I think, that song on this guitar, one of these guitars, on the Rock and Roll Circus, and that for me was one of the, I remember seeing that and just thinking, that guy.
So it's a Gibson Firebird 7, original reverse Firebird, all complete, from 64 or 65? 64. Very few of these things made, less than 200.
Really?
Yeah, really. Wow. This was the top of the range, so it's got like your Les Paul custom inlays. This has been refretted because originally these came with the fretless Wonder frets.
Come over here,
horrible things. So you couldn't bend or anything with them. But this has been refretted. This is the best refret I've ever seen.
Who did it?
Don't know because it was done by the previous owner of the guitar. So we don't know who did it. But it's the most fantastic refret. The frets on this guitar are slightly big.
Yep.
But not in a way that's like big. They just feel great to play and to bend on. It's got an amazing action, this guitar.
So,
and you're on the neck there.
We're on the neck. So here, which pickup will we be on this
In the middle, that's these two.
Oh, that's these two.
Same as an SG custom or a Les Paul custom. Same wiring.
That's a really sort of nice out of phase or something. I love it. That's great. Very sort of Strat-like, isn't it?
Definitely parallel rather than series, because if it was series it'd be much hotter.
And then we've got this classic.
And this will be the
yeah, beautiful. And then just classic Gibson neck, which is
classic Gibson neck. But these guitars, Firebirds, were designed to be really sharp. Because the fashion in the 60s, the taste in pop was for very cutting, sharp pop.
Yeah.
So the Firebird pickups, were designed to be really quite sharp and cutting. For a long time, they were really out of fashion. But what's interesting is that now we've got decent amps.
Yeah.
You can get a really good blues tone out of a Firebird pickup, despite the fact that it's sharp, by just rolling the tone back a smidge. And they're really good for blues. It's not just Johnny Winter, but other people turn really good sound out of them. Yeah,
and also if you're looking at high gain like a Soldano, I think the neck pickup with these is beautiful. For a really, really gainy sort of sound. And then you've got this kind of vibrato. Is it called the vibrato?
That's a a Maestro Vibrola, and it's simply a great big piece of spring metal that you wang with the arm here. And a lot of these I've played, the guitar just, as soon as you look at it, the guitar goes out of tune. This one is really well set up. It just it stays in tune, providing you don't whammy it. But if you just make the chords move like you did, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful, and it's not heavy. You know, a lot of people complain about this sort of,
the neck dive.
Yeah, but if you kind of just, I find with these sort of same with an SG, if you put the guitar here in your leg, it's going to go. But if you just sort of put it here a little bit, then you're kind of more in the correct centre of gravity. And it plays really well.
You've got a Firebird of your own.
So I had one.
You had one, so you used to
I sold it.
Because the thing about playing Firebirds, if you don't play Firebirds often, the whole guitar is over here.
Yeah.
It's much further over to your left.
Yeah, you just kind of, the way I combat it is I just bring it over here a little bit. Just literally bring it round a bit, you know?
Sorry about the pops, guys, but we'll get it fixed. So that is your original Firebird 7. That's a rare guitar.
And what about this?
This is the first reissue of the Explorer. This happened in the mid-70s, about 76.
So mahogany body?
Mahogany body, yeah. Not light, well, not heavy, but not light, okay? But I think, and big round neck.
Yeah.
Real.
These are the ones that the Edge trawls on eBay for, isn't it?
Yeah, this is definitely an Edge guitar. It's in fantastic condition. It's almost new.
Wow.
It's quite beautiful. And I mean, again, big necks are a matter of taste. I've got hands big enough to mean that I love big neck guitars, and there's a lot of tone in a big neck.
Yeah.
So this guitar, acoustically it rings beautifully, absolutely beautifully. So this is
and it's a very good condition, isn't it?
It's in incredible condition. If I turn it over for the back, it's absolutely, it's really almost faultless. I mean, given this now, if it's 76. That makes this, 70, 80, 90...
It's basically my date of birth.
45 years old.
It's my date of birth.
There you go. So the question is, kind viewers, which do you think is in better condition? Not me, I'm stepping out of this one. The guitar or Ramon? Okay, answers in the comments, please, as usual. Thank you.
This has got more hair on it. It's got more hair.
Where? And moving on.
Right, so this, which is older? This one or this one?
That one.
That one. Should we start with this one?
Okay.
First of all, I love this bit of green.
It's
here.
beautiful, isn't it?
So it's kind of, the gold has gone green, yeah? Because of the copper content, is that right?
That's right. So what they used to do, the finish, this gold finish, was basically brass filings.
Right.
Brass dust suspended in clear varnish. And that's what the Goldtop was.
So this is a 56? 56?
That's 56. That's
it's
right.
got
so
this thing here.
That's right. Exactly. They moved from the wraparound bridge like this to the stop tailpiece and tunematic in 55/6.
And these guitars just look beautiful when they've got a bit of wear on them.
Yeah.
I think it's like kind of, they look better than when they're mint.
This guitar has been really loved and used probably by one player who's really worn it back here. But actually, you can see here that what you've got is you've got a little bit of the wood, the maple cap showing through.
Yeah.
Then you've got some gold paint here, okay, and then you've got the clear coat here as well, which is obviously worn off, and then the sweat has crept slowly underneath and oxidized the copper and the brass to create the greening colour.
And the thing for me, the weight, 8.5, would you say 8.5, 9? 8.5 or around there. Maybe
does it feel light?
It's kind of 8 3/4 or 8.5, I think. The one thing about it is the Gibson just got the necks, and Fenders, they got the necks right, didn't they? In those early 50s.
Well, they're all hand carved.
Yeah.
So they're all different, but they're all very good.
When I play a lot of replicas, although our friend Darren, You know,
Indeed, of Daniel's guitars.
Yeah, I mean, he gets it right. He gets it right, but a lot of replica builders, they never get the next.
He gets it right because he gives a shit.
Yeah.
He cares about it, and to the extent that if he gets it wrong, he just takes the neck off, throws a small tantrum, chops it up, and starts again. You know.
But that's the thing about the Gibsons; they just have that perfect neck. Just got it right.
I know that one. I mean, that I'm imagining that's quite round. It's a decent clubby neck.
It's beautiful, beautiful, really nice. But it hasn't got the shoulders.
Yeah.
So you don't, if you play a B flat 13 chord, you know that one.
He's doing it again.
E7 sharp 9. Yeah. So that's nice. That's it. F7 sharp.
I can hear that there aren't any shoulders in that chord.
It's just got it. I mean, and I kind of think of Freddie King. I think of Hubert Sumlin, was it? And those, again, that whole sort of coming back to Buddy Holly, that sound, Sam Phillips, Sun Studios, Howling Wolf, Slapback Delays.
Yeah.
I've got a good friend called Justin Adams who plays a 52, with Robert Plant.
Yeah.
And he's the same deal. He's really battered and gone green. And, something. These are kind of like the.
If you can get over the fact those 52s, that the neck was set too shallow into the body.
Yeah.
And they had that peculiar trapeze tailpiece with the strings going underneath.
Well, he keeps it like that. He actually makes it work for him.
Okay. Well,
I don't know how he does it.
But also now, the same people I think that make the Mastery Bridge for Jazz Masters and stuff, they've produced a tailpiece that's very, very flat. So it's a tailpiece with a wraparound on it that converts a 52 into something more playable.
Yeah.
In a completely retro, undoable way.
Right.
And it's brilliant. So because those 52s and 53s, as pieces of wood, they sound fantastic.
Yes.
The bit geek tip here, switch tip.
Switch tip. Yeah,
right now, you know me and switch tips, and I'm
guys, he doesn't stop talking.
I don't talk about switch
all the time.
tips.
On the way down here, we were driving on the way down here. All he was talking about was switch tips. I didn't even know what he was going on about.
But anyway. The switch tips on these are different to the switch tips on your later Sunbursts and your 335s and stuff. They're slightly taller, they're slightly browner, and they've got a slightly flatter top.
Man, do you have a life?
I don't have a life at all.
What are you really?
Slightly rippled with a flat underside is what I'd say. But seriously, just for the geeks out there. Now, moving on.
Can I just say another question? Are these centre parted? Underneath that paint?
I don't know. I think, well, in fact, hang on, they were often, they're certainly made out of more than one piece of wood.
Right.
But no, they were sometimes made out of three. Okay. Because the gold paint's opaque. Yeah. And so if these are ever stripped and converted into a sunburst, right, then sometimes you find if a sunburst has got 3 bits, it's probably a conversion.
Okay.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Okay. And another question, you got this beautiful guitar here. Are the pickups the same? Just the pickup cover is different.
Yes.
Same style of P90.
Yes. Okay. Whatever they say, the innards for these were pulled out of the same, that wound on the same machine, out of the same parts bin. Okay. The only thing you might say is that Gibson did give some attention back in the day to trying to match the pickups on some guitars.
Did they really?
Yeah. So some, not all. So you very often find that you get a slightly hotter pickup in the bridge than in the neck because there's more magnetic energy.
So are you saying that somebody with a meter at Gibson would take a reading?
Well, either that or they might have just stuck it on, had a quick listen and gone, and before it was too late they might have just whipped one out and whipped another one in. But generally,
I didn't know that.
Generally Gibson gave some attention to this. Now, having said that, sorry to report that on my 54 wraparound Goldtop, it's not true. That's not true.
Right.
My bridge pickup is a little bit weaker than the neck.
Because I thought they wouldn't have cared in those. I thought the pickup either works or it doesn't. Slap it in. Who cares if it's...
I think, especially on the higher end guitars, I think they maybe just paid a smidge more attention.
Maybe on the Super 400s.
Oh, yeah. Things like that. Because, I mean, they were charging, the Super 400 cost about half as much as a house in those days.
Wow.
So,
Same size.
So that's a 56. I'm holding a 59 TV yellow double cut Les Paul Junior. Another completely iconic guitar.
Yeah.
And guitars, these double cut juniors, they were
student guitar, weren't they?
Well, they were a student guitar, but I mean, they were made to exactly the same standards of craftsmanship as the higher end guitars, and as a result they've aged very well. These guitars sound fantastic because the combination of the wraparound bridge and the single P90 is they're really hot. They sound kind of a bit like a humbucker, like a PAF, but obviously they hum, but they're very powerful. They sound great.
And these are becoming pretty expensive, aren't they now?
Well, so the cherry ones,
Yeah.
you know, you could pick one of those up for sort of £4,500, which is a lot of money, but for a vintage guitar that good, it's a real bargain.
Yeah.
But you know, during COVID and lockdown, everyone's gone crazy about guitars. Now the cherries are going for 7,000.
Wow.
Or something mad.
Yeah.
And the yellow ones are scarcer, and the yellow ones were more expensive in the first place. But now I mean, the TV ones are really quite valuable guitars.
I saw Doyle Bramwell playing slide on them. I don't know if he's got an original. Doyle Bramwell, you know,
yeah,
who played with Clapton.
Well, I met him.
You met him, didn't you, in Texas?
I did.
Did he whip out his?
Nope.
He didn't.
He was playing.
Whip out his guitar.
Well, quite. We're talking about his guitar.
Yeah.
He was playing Collings. I think he's got an endorsement, so I think he was. He was a bit under the cosh.
One of them.
Under the cosh. I think he was keeping all the nice old stuff at home, because he's got some lovely old stuff.
Yeah.
And of course he's lucky, because although he plays left-handed, he plays a right-handed guitar left-handed.
So he doesn't have to make.
Because when I was talking to Matthias, his tech, I said, hang on, you're a righty and he's a lefty. How does that work? And he said, no, Doyle plays the guitar reversed. So I can set the guitar up right-handed and give it to him, and he's happy.
Yeah.
And that's why he gets that. His bends.
It's like Albert King, isn't it?
And phrasing. It's all slightly different and really interesting. That's
Albert King, and also Otis Rush. Otis Rush did the same.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, great player.
So anyway, here we are with another pair, yet another pair of fantastic, 50s Gibsons, both big round neck. These are the original frets, and they're beautiful. By '59, Gibson were using the big frets.
Why is it?
Those are the early ones. This is just like butter to play this guitar.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? That in the 1950s, Fender and Gibson and Guild and all those companies, Epiphone, came up with these superb guitars, and we're still stuck in the past. Really, even modern guitars, even PRS are harking back to the golden years. Really, aren't they?
They are. Well, I mean, and we said in a previous video when I had my one of these out, that actually this style of guitar is basically the prototype both for the Dan Armstrong plexiglass model and also for the Paul Reed Smith model.
And I think there's some other guys doing that same, like maybe Patrick Eggle, some of his new guitars, and who's a guy in Denmark, really fancy coffee table guitars. I can't remember his name anyway, but there's a few guys doing it. He needs
to work on his branding then, doesn't he?
No, Hugh Huber.
Oh, Nick Huber, right.
Is he copying these? Is that what it's for?
The Hubers I've seen have been more like Les Pauls standards.
Right. Okay.
More like standards. But anyway, this particular configuration is definitely the one that several famous guitar makers of some standing, Dan Armstrong and Paul Reed Smith, they've copied. So and again, just acoustically very resonant guitar, fantastic. I know an unboxing video is supposed to be all about unboxing, and in this case we're not doing the unboxings because there's just too many guitars here to get through and do the unboxings as well. Okay, that's my excuse, but I do want to unbox this guitar for you because the case is so unusual. Okay, this is a Gibson brown case from the mid to late 50s. Okay, so what's so remarkable about it? Well, what's so remarkable about it is that it's not the same as it's got a Les Paul inside it, but it's not the same as the case that comes with a Les Paul Sunburst or a Les Paul Custom. It's thinner and flatter, and that's because it's a hard case with a red, not a pink lining for a Les Paul double cut TV Junior from '59. Okay, so for the collector geeks amongst us, the case is almost as important as the guitar, but everything about this little ensemble is fantastic.